Hey guys, Maniac, and I'm here with some more Maniac reviews, and today, for Maniac reviews, I'm going to be reviewing Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. Now, before we start this, I think I need to go into classy mode. Ayo, I'm here with a bit better clothes for this review. Let's get to it. Alright, so Anchorman 2. I'm going to start off by saying this movie is probably one of the most ridiculous movies I've ever seen. More ridiculous than the first one. We will get to why that is in a bit, but let's start off with characters. Now, in this movie, there are a lot of characters, but there are only 4 you really have to worry about. Champ, Brian, of course, Brick, and Ron. Now, these 4 are the Anchormen. The legendary Anchormen of San Diego, as they say it. And this is their adventure in New York after they get a job offer at the first 24-hour news station for, I guess, the world. So, there's the storyline and characters for you right there. Boom. Let's go on to negatives and positives. I'm going to start off with negatives. Negatives was that the ending seemed to be very drawn out. They made it a bit too long than it really needed to, but at the same time they still kind of kept it funny. They didn't. It was just kind of wasn't just like this long ending that wasn't funny at all. It was just really drawn out, and probably could have shortened it, but it was still funny. Another thing that was not really the best about this is there seemed to be a lot of kind of padding in it. Not too much, especially near the end. That's why I say the end and stuff wasn't the best. Excuse me. But the positives of this movie. I'm going to start out by saying great story writing, great acting, and like there's so many moments in this movie where you're sitting in your chair, right? You're sitting and you're looking at the movie screen, and you can't stop laughing. There's parts that are so funny, especially near the end. For me, this is not really much of a spoiler, but there's a part where they kind of give a bit of a thing to the last movie where there was that. If you guys remember, there was the scene where everybody's like, all these Anchormen are fighting, and then it ends, and then comes the phrase that you may see on social media a lot. Well, that escalated quickly. That's in there for sure near the end a lot. And they kind of give an homage to that, but instead of like, I think in the last one it was like Ben Stiller and like a whole bunch of other famous people, this lineup was way better. The ones that are memorable and the ones that you actually want to care about are, I'm going to go from worst to best. So worst would probably, oh my gosh, it was too good that there isn't really that much of a worst. I'll just list them off randomly. Liam Neeson. Alright, Liam Neeson, that's pretty big right there. Liam flippin' Neeson. Harrison Ford. Freaking, what's his face from Star Wars? Why can't I remember this? I'm gonna kill myself because of Han Solo from Star Wars himself and a comedy. Alright? Let's get better. Will Smith. Will flippin' Smith. And like he looks young too. He doesn't look kind of like old as he has been, as he's kind of been lately, but he looks young, Will Smith. It's a young Will Smith. You cannot go wrong with a young Will Smith. Oh yeah, by the way, not really. Nah, actually, I'm not gonna mention that. Kanye West. What the heck? As like the MTV, since this was kind of like in the 80s, as like the MTV news crew, and they're just like, they like make a joke, they make some jokes about MTV, which I found funny. And my favorite of all, you ready for this? Jim Mother Flippin' Carrey. Jim Mother Couchin' Carrey. out of nowhere as the Canadian news team. And the best part about it is when they're having this fight, he's like, beating people up, and he's going, sorry, and since I'm Canadian, I'm sitting there and I cannot stop laughing. And especially when they were all getting introduced, I was just sitting there going, could not stop laughing because it was so ridiculous and stupid how they were getting introduced. And some of the stuff that happens, it was just that, and that's in the ending too. That's one of the best parts I've ever seen in a movie. Best thing I've ever seen in a comedy movie. Now, one of the things I was really worried about going into this movie is that comedy sequels lately, or just kind of in general, don't usually seem to be that good. They usually actually seem to be worse. Great example, Grown Ups 2, worst movie I've ever seen. Moving on, because I don't even want to discuss that. Worst part of my life. There's a reason why I did not do a review on that movie. And there's other examples of movies from the past that were great start-out comedies and then were just horrible if they made a sequel. And I was really scared about that, and they didn't do that in this movie. I would almost say Anchorman 2 is way better than the first one, way more hilarious, and there's a lot more stuff that you can just sit there and laugh about. It's for sure more mature than the last one, but better. Honestly, there's so much stuff you can laugh at, and it's also kind of one of those movies where it's bad at times that make you laugh, but it's good at times that make you laugh. The jokes that they have are really bad, so you're laughing your butt off, or they're really good, so you're laughing your butt off. It's one of those movies for me, especially, it was just kind of there was so many bad parts that made me laugh, that made me still love the movie, but when there was the good parts, they kind of balanced it out, so it was perfect. The bad parts were good, and the good parts were good. And when I say bad parts were good, I mean parts that, as a reviewer, I know are bad when it comes to movies, that movie people, movie producers and directors and writers shouldn't do. They do, but they make it work. Because it's kind of and the other thing about it is that there are parts where they try to be, where they want to be serious, and they make sure that this is a serious part, you're not meant to laugh, serious. So shut the heck up, and, let your emotions pour out, kind of thing. But no, and great acting, honestly. Brick, I think, is probably one of my new favorite characters in any movie. This was a great movie. I highly do recommend it. And because of this, I'm going to give it a 4.9. Actually, you know what? Screw it. 5 out of 5. Perfect. 5 out of 5. Reason why I do that is because even though with the long drawn out ending, they still made it work. Even with the padding, they still made it work. Even with the little bits of mistakes that they made, they still made it work. There was nothing wrong with the movie, in my opinion. It's a really good comedy. The last Anchorman did have its problems, but they addressed those problems in this movie and took them out. I highly, highly recommend that you go see this movie over the Christmas holidays. Speaking about Christmas, next week is Christmas, and because of that, if you guys did not know, there are a bunch of movies coming out during Christmas. So, I'm going to be going and seeing, I think there's about 3 or 4 that I'm going to be going and seeing the day after Christmas, because, come on, I'm going to go to a movie theater on Christmas? Nah, I got family. So, what's probably going to end up happening is I'm going to do reviews of all the movies I go see, and then I don't know if I'm going to upload them all in one week or if they're going to be spread out. So you guys may actually see 4 reviews next week. You guys may just see 1. It depends on what happens and what I decide to do. It also depends on what other movies are coming out soon and what other stuff is coming out. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, favorite, like, and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys next time or whatever I make. Hey, this is going on, Dragon. A peace out. Boopity boop boop. Stay classy, maniacs.